All right, my name is Leo Smerglia, and this is my sport evaluation assignment. So, the event I attended was the spring football game for WVU. It was the Golden Blues Spring Festival, or the Spring Game as most know it. It was on Saturday, April 18th, 2026. Basically, the spring game is to showcase the fans, kind of get them more involved into the football team before we get into the fall season where they're actually playing games and they matter. Um, the blue team ended up winning 39 to 30. Most everyone looked good. Scotty Fox looked really good. So I'm excited for the fall season. And I think it's a good event for the W Athletics to get out to the fans. So the event was held at Milan Puskar Stadium, about seats around 60,000. I will say there was not 60,000 people there. They had both upper levels closed off, and then they had the left side of the field closed off for the stage because there was a Jake Owen concert. And then tickets were free, unless and if you had a student ID, it was also free to go. Um, yeah, and yeah, the stadium opened in 1980. So marketing and promotional strategies. So they had Almost Heaven Village. So they had an Almost Heaven Village. I saw Kona Ice. They had food, barbecue. I think they had hot dogs, hamburgers, all that type of stuff, drinks. I saw a bar too out there, which is awesome. And then I also saw they had face painting and obstacle blow up courses for kids. It looked like they had a lot of things for kids to really get them excited for the season and get them excited for the game. So they also had a gear sale. The gear sale was through the North Gate. First 2,000 fans that get come in get a free shirt. And they were also selling gear and promoting gear. And then they had the Jake Owens concert. So the Jake Owens concert was set up on the left side of the field, uh, which was all right. They probably could have positioned it better, especially for the people that were around the stadium. Maybe if you put the stage in the middle, it would have looked better. So each section could see the stadium, but if you were too far left on the side of the field, you could not um, see Jake Owen or anything that was really going on. You could only hear him, which kind of sucks. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they had Jake Owens, which was awesome. And like I said earlier, the first 2,000 people in, they would get a white wristband, and they actually got field access to watch Jake Owen on the field. So the event staff and personnel responsibilities. So first, we're gonna start with Rhino Security. Those are just the dudes in the bright orange you see all around the stadium. You see them a lot in the fall. I would say there was a lack of them on Saturday for the game. They really didn't do much. I mean, they scanned our tickets and would look at student IDs. Um, but also they were on the field. So for the concert, there was like gates and there was like an inner side and inside the gates was like the Summit Club. So those Rhino security guards sat on the outside and basically watched everybody that was coming in and out. And then you would have a few on the field, but they weren't really doing much. Then you had concession workers. They were doing their thing. I think every concession spot was open when I was walking around. I didn't see anyone that wasn't open. And they also had like their vendor spots open on the concourse that were selling beer, popcorn, hot dogs, the easy stuff. And then the concessions they would send like they would sell nachos, soft drinks, beer, Powerade, all that stuff. They also had pepperoni rolls, loaded pepperoni rolls, which is something new. I did not know they sold loaded pepperoni rolls. And I also saw the West Virginia hot dog. That's something new that they also started, which I've never seen that before. Then you had coaches. So the coaches were on the field. Rich Rod was calling plays from behind the quarterback on the field, and they would only be going the right of the field since the stage was on this side. And then at one point, Rich Rod did go up in the stands and he was asking fans for play calls. And then if they scored a touchdown off that play call, they would get a free prize or merch. I saw a bobblehead, stuff like that, lanyard. And then police were just kind of there. Weren't really doing much. I saw some walking around the field. I don't think they were there before the concert, I mean. But they did walk around during the concert and they were just keeping an eye out. All right. And then safety concerns. So security at the front gates. Really, the security at the front gates wasn't doing much. weren't really checking bags, which is something that should be known to do. They kind of just took a peek and then just let them go. I don't They didn't really like go through the bags, which is something that should be done. And then honestly, there's a lack of security, so maybe adding more security. Seating issues. So when you would go in, there was no like specific spot you had to sit. So that would create like an overextent of people sitting next to each other just to get like a good view for the concert or the game. So which kind of causes a safety concern. And then railing issues. So I never noticed that the lower parts of the concourse, they don't have railings. So that would make it harder for one that is older or has walking disabilities to get down to their seat that would be going like all the way down or something. Since if you have a railing, it helps you, get down there faster or safely down there. Yeah, so my two recommendations, make the spring game enjoyable by having the full field access for both teams. Since there was a concert going on after the game, the stage was on the left side. The teams couldn't even use both sides of the field. Which at one point there was a defensive scoop and score, and they couldn't even score the touchdown because the concert stage was there. So I think if you open up both sides of the field, it kind of looks better and makes it more enjoyable. See what each team can do fully. And then move the Jake Owen stage to the middle of the field. Since it was on the left side, there were some people that did not have a good view. There was one side of the stadium closest to the parking garage hospital. Yeah, they really couldn't see the Jake Owens concert or see Jake Owen in general because the stage was so small and so it was on the left side. The farther you go back on that side, like the section, I think it was like 104, 105. If you go farther over to like 107, 108, you can see them better, but the closer you get to 105 and then 104 and then 103, you really couldn't see them. So I think if you put the field in the middle, it kind of gives more access for him to walk around the full stage and, interact with fans more. And then you also have he is able to walk around the stage. And then also gives the people on the ground like more space to get closer and see him up and close instead of this small stage on the left side of the field. But yeah, that was my presentation for my sports evaluation assignment.